Welcome to Books at the Bottom of the Stairs. Before you, you see my December reading pile. Hello, everyone. This is not really my reading pile for the whole month of December, but it feels like pretty close. There's a couple of ones in here that I'm really excited to get to. So today I have for you something kind of different. I haven't seen this happening in my social group at all, although people have spoken about it, how in some of the Scandinavian countries a book is given on the Christmas Eve, and people, sit around and read with nummies on Christmas Eve. Well, we sort of have a version of that in that for many, many years the kids would get a Christmas type book under the tree on Christmas morning, and we're just a book family. Everybody would get books. So they're all growing and gone, and one of the family members, Ryan, who has a bit of a dark streak, has introduced us to the idea of ghost books, ghost stories, just at Christmas time. And so that's what I've purchased for everybody. This is a combination of some of the books I have bought for the family, but also ghost stories for family. So this was purchased for me last year by Steve. A Visit by Shirley Jackson. Margaret Visits, no, that's right, by Shirley. I'm sorry, I got mistaken. I thought this was one I had purchased, but this is the one I received. Margaret visits the lavish home of her friend Carla Rhodes for the summer holidays, but when Carla's brother arrives with mysterious friend, strange occurrences cause tensions to rise within the group and secrets hidden within the house begin to emerge. So, not set at a Christmas time, but a possible scary story. And from what I understand, Shirley Jackson really knows how to write a cliffhanger. I have read her book that she's known for, but what is that one called? Well, it doesn't matter. It's not part of today's video. All right, what I purchased for one of the kids is A Room in a Rectory. There we go. So you can see the cover, by Andrew Caldecott. Reverend Nigel arrives at Tilchington Rectory expecting a comfortable living in the beautiful countryside, but when he stubbornly opens a locked chamber, it isn't long before he's plagued with disturbingly devilish visions. Well, the picture at the back has it set in the winter, but yeah, I haven't read any of these. I have no idea what we're in for, and I think Ryan, who's our ghost specialist, has read a number of these. This one, A House by the Poppy Field by Marjorie Bowen, obviously takes place in the summer because you couldn't have poppies growing in the winter. After having lived a largely solitary life, Maitland returns to his ancestral estate and soon finds himself increasingly obsessed with the magnificent field of poppies surrounding the home, as well as with the man who harvests them. So these are all kind of cool little books. They fit in a stocking just lovely. They're under $10 in Canada. And who is the press that's putting them out? It says on the back, but the sticker is covering it. Oh. I'll have to put that in the information below because I can't get the name of the publisher. So I bought those. I got those three for stocking stuffers, and then for my big family fella guy, The Skull, which I have spoken to you about. Now, he's not that much of a reader of novels. He does read it a lot, but not in books. And he certainly, I don't think, reads children's books. So I bought this for him as a challenge. And we have spoken before about this in terms of how good the art is and how interesting the little story is, and how the little girl Otelia is trying to help the Skull, who lives in the mysterious house that she's run away to, help him escape from an evil entity. So this is, Jack at A Book Joy. Yeah, if I didn't link it in the previous video. I will link it again today, but she's got a very, very good review of this book. And no, I would not buy it for little people. I would say, you know, 6, 7. Well, any kid who likes a ghost story. It's not super spooky. It's not like you're going to get nightmares from it, but it is a bit of a nail biter. All right. The next one I picked up is Rock Crystal by Aldebert Stifter, introduced by W.H. Auden. And let's see, 2 children, Conrad and his little sister, Sana, set out from their village high up in the Alps to visit their grandparents. It is good weather, but on the way home the snow begins to fall. That's the 4 o'clock bird going. We're having a heck of a windstorm, and so I just decided to videotape this because the lights are flickering, and I just want to get this done before the power goes out. So, okay, they're coming back through the snow in the Alps, and it continues to fall, and they get on the wrong path. And they find themselves out on a glacier between Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. The next one I have is by a completely different press, British Library, Tales of the Weird. Chill Tidings, Dark Tales of the Christmas Season, edited by Tanya Kirk. Well, just to finish now, in another video not so long ago, I talked about the Women's Library, and there was a comment from the viewers that British Library is having some struggles with their website in terms of security. Now, from what I understand, they've got it in hand in terms of if you were a previous member, I think you're okay to purchase things from them, but it's worth taking a look at their site and just make sure that their security is sorted out. But I did this online and picked up I picked up 2 spooky ghost stories last year, and so the one from last year, Into the London Fog, Eerie Tales from the Weird City. It's been a bit of a hit or miss for me. Short stories are not my favorite, and I am currently in a bit of a dry spell. The first couple of stories were pretty good. I enjoyed them, but I'm not loving the middle parts. But then Ryan told me that the stories that are at the end are supposed to be pretty darn good. So I will keep going. And this is my bedside reading. Just the thing to help you settle down. All right, Chill Tidings. Again, a lot of old stories. Let's see, they're ghostly pantomimes and otherworldly intruders bent on ruining or partaking in the most wonderful time of the year. Classic tales from Algernon Blackwood, Elizabeth Bowen, Charlotte Riddell, and L.P. Hartley, jostling with rare pieces from the sleeping periodicals and literary magazines of the British Library collections. So, sounds kind of fun. And it's got a nice little cover on it too. I don't remember what I paid for this one. It's on the back. It says £9, and that was a year ago. So maybe $15 or something, including, you know, like breaking up the shipping across all of the different books. I think I bought close. Cheryl and I, between the two of us, we probably bought close to 15 books. So the shipping wasn't that bad. So I'm looking forward to this one because I think they're a little more I think for one thing they're shorter, and I think that really helps with the pacing of a ghost story. I find the longer a ghost story is, or the longer something where you need the psychological drama to buy into, I find those harder to sustain if they're over 60 pages or something, and these are all much briefer. So that did not come from my local bookstore, and neither did this one, but the others did. Now, this one for Ryan, she's probably read every ghost story out there, but she really is interested in this one, and it is about a young girl, right here, who's having a bit of a hard preteen time of it, and she gets a job, not preteen, I'm sorry, early teen, and she gets a job at the mall, and everything seems to be working out, but then seems to be going down. And I remember Ryan speaking about it, and she just felt it really... she hasn't read it, but the stuff on the back, she goes, oh my God, that is just my childhood. So I thought, well, that would be kind of fun to just remind her of her childhood life. That isn't scary. I don't know what is. Okay, the antidote to all of that is The Best Worst Christmas Pageant Ever. And this is an oldie. It was written by Barbara Robinson. And I guess I remember reading this when I was still at home as a kid. So it had to have been printed was printed in 1972. So that's, yeah, I'm pretty sure I would have read it in the 70s. And it's been on one of the family's bookshelves ever since. My mom had it for a long time, and then I found a copy for myself. Then she gave me her copy. Then I gave my kids my copy. And now I just went out and got everybody a copy. And what we're going to do on the 20th, because we've got 3 different households, we are going to have a Zoom call, and you can have your beverage of choice and your snack of choice, and we are going to take turns reading it aloud. And it's about 100 and it's about just a little over 100 pages, and I'm looking forward to it. Our son, our eldest child, Autumn, really can do very good voices, and so can Steve. So I don't know what character they'll take on, but I think it'll be pretty good. And we'll just, I think that will take us probably a little over an hour to do, and it'll be fun to get into the Christmas spirit, because Phoebe and Zachary aren't coming for Christmas, which is fine, which it works out really well for them. Oh my goodness. They were trying to get flights from Ottawa to Halifax, and it was costing a fortune. But the reason they really decided against it was that in order to go from here to there, which is only an hour, they would have to travel to Montreal and then here with a 4-hour layover, which is not horrible, but just stupid. Or they'd have to go back to Toronto to come all the way here on a direct flight. And that was going to be a 6 to 8 hour layover. And we all know that ain't gonna work on the 22nd or the 20th or whatever of December. It's prime time for things to ever go wrong. And they wouldn't be flying Porter Air, which is fairly reliable. They'd have to be going in and out of Toronto Pearson. So just another reason to just stay at home. This is now, because it's also the time of day, as you can tell, it's kind of dim. It's time for my drinky poo. All right, one of the fun things I'm doing, and I'm very excited about it, is I am reading this series. If you've been here for a while, you know that I like to just plunge into a series. I don't like to wait for a book, the last book to come in. All the series books have to be here. So I started a little while ago, I think early November, with A Deadly Education, and that is by Naomi Novik, book 1, and it's about a school that's sort of in the ether. It's just barely tied to Earth, and it is fed by magic, or the energy that comes from magic, and there are these evil creatures that feed on the students, and so there's this sort of reciprocal thing happening. The students need to know how to defeat the bad entities. They're called MALS, M-A-L-S, and the school needs the energy of the students studying, and they also, the building itself, which is sort of an entity, needs the energy of the MALS eating the kids, and it's just become completely out of hand, and it's like 1 in every 4 children is not going to make it to graduation, and it's just an insane, why would you send your kid to those schools question. But turns out in the real world, the children, if they don't get this kind of education on how to protect themselves, they have a 1 in 2 chance of not making it to adulthood and full wizardry. So the school seems like a good option. Anyhow, it's just an insane, dark place. The school isn't haunted, but it has some kind of sentience to it. So it can respond to individual students' progression towards their graduation, and they might get more contests or less contests, and more spells or more homework, and then in book 2, this is kind of continuing, and the group is about to graduate. The group we've met in the first book is about to graduate, and for multiple reasons, they've decided they need to change the usual strategy for exiting the school, which is a gauntlet of things that want to eat them and kill them and so on. So The teams have decided that they are going to approach it differently. And I'm just in about the first third of book 3, and those that can graduate have graduated. And there's a few that, well, they might not have graduated, but they might not be dead either. Big question. So there is stuff still happening in the outer world that these recent graduates become involved in trying to save the world, because why wouldn't you? If you've got that much magic, why wouldn't you save the world? It's not for everyone, this series, because there's an awful lot of strategy. There's awful lot of the character thinking, you know, if this, then that, but if that, then this, but then if this, then that. Where am I going to go with this? So there's just you're in her head a whole lot. There are other characters that are kind of interesting, but we're not in their heads nearly as much. There are building relationships. The main character, Elle, is pretty much a social outcast since her early days, and that's somewhat self-imposed, but it's also partly her mannerisms. She's not a very inviting. She's just not like me. That's all we need to say. And so she's struggling with school. I struggled with school too, but not for not being, you know, Miss Glad. Okay, yeah, so I think this is a book for someone who really likes strategy, who really likes the psychological side of things. The magic is pretty interesting because there are all kinds of causes and effects. It's not just, you know, wave your wand and you'll get a headache. Like there's very deep intricacies around the magic. And the world is peculiar too, because we've got this slightly sentient school that's just on the edge of the void of the ether, and so there's that whole kind of, you know, tenuous connection back to reality. And what is reality if you come from a wizarding family and the rest of the world is completely unconscious of the existence of wizards and magic and the mals? So people like me who just read about it, we wouldn't get eaten up by some kind of scarecrow figure. We just wouldn't even notice it, because they can only go to someone who believes in magic. So lots of interesting details, lots of interesting hardships that the kids are going through. Now, I suspect some people would say it reminds them of the Hunger Games, and I wouldn't. I think that there's a lot. I read the first book in the Hunger Games and hated it. Although I did enjoy the strategy, I just could not bring myself to enjoy a book where kids are being killed off. Like, you know, sometimes you need a death, but you don't need a slaughter. So in that respect, it's a bit like the Hunger Games. I think there are a few too many bodies in this book. But that becomes less and less as time goes by. That would be my only quibble with this book, is that I wish there weren't quite so many eaten people. But she's also referring to the past. This school has been going on for several hundred years, so that's been something that has been gradually escalating over time, and the school has got to the point where it no longer wants to be seeing these children die off. So, interesting story and interesting series. I will probably talk about it a little bit in the future, but if not, yeah, there's some of you out there who would really like it. And now, who's the publisher for that one? I don't know. Del Rey. I got this through my local children's bookstore, and they have books for young adults as well, so that was good. All right. In this crazy pile, there's book 2 of a series I'm starting that's written by Jane Howard. There's a Dorothy Whipple that I'd like to read. There's A Rogue of One's Own, which is a romance that was recommended to me. And yeah, there's a couple of others that'll be fun to talk about in January, I think. All right, that's it for me. I hope all your reading dreams and adventures continue to come true, and I will see you next week with something entirely different, and maybe eggnog? We'll see. Bye-bye for now.